Hi, I'm Megan Edwards for BareTalk TV. Today we are talking to the Vagina coach, Kim Vopni, and I'm really excited because you're going to teach us a little bit of what you do.
Yeah.
Please tell me, because this, okay, tell me about this.
Okay.
You'll know what this is, but like, explain it.
Yes, so this is a pelvic model, and we all, even men, have a pelvis, they have a pelvic floor. We're talking specifically about the female pelvis and pelvic floor today. But essentially, I'm talking about the group of muscles that forms the base of the pelvis. So there's attachment points. You know, if you reach through your butt and you kind of feel those bones in your bum, that's your sit bones, or ischial tuberosities if you want the fancy term. At the base of our spine, we have our tailbone. That's another attachment point for the muscles. And then at the front, we have our pubic joint. It's actually a joint here. Most people refer to it as a bone, pubic bone. So they kind of make like a diamond shape. And there's layers of muscles. There's a huge blood supply. There's a huge nerve supply. This is our external genitalia. That's our vulva. There's our anus. And inside, we have our internal organs. So I have, my real bladder fell out. So I've got a ball in here. So this is kind of a full bladder. So we have the bladder, we have the uterus, and the rectum. So the muscles play a role in stabilizing the spine and pelvis, holding those internal organs up in place where they're supposed to be, maintaining our continence. So we should be able to make the decision, do I have to pee, poo, or fart right now? And then, is it a good time for me to pee, poo, or fart right now?
You want to be able to make that decision, especially with the fart thing.
Yes. We just came up in the elevator and I think somebody didn't make a good decision. But we need to be able to control our continence. So the pelvic floor plays a huge role in that. And it's also a big part of our sexual satisfaction or lack thereof. So an incredibly important part of our body. It's the foundation of our core. But because most of what I talk about really is up and in, we don't pay a lot of attention to it unless it's maybe something not working correctly. And
so when you say not working correctly, what does that mean per se? Does it mean, because I heard some of the videos I saw, you were talking about like bladder leakage, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean when you say that?
yes, exactly. So that's probably the most common one is sneeze, pee, or leaking when you laugh, which is essentially it's incontinence. And most people associate incontinence with the older population. But some of our youngest athletes, trampolinists, tennis players have huge problems with incontinence. So it's very, very common, but it's not normal. And there are other companies and products that are giving us opportunities to live with it. But I want to, again, take it another step further and say those products have a place temporarily. But really, these are problems that are so easily treatable, and they don't need drugs and surgery in most cases. But women don't know about those options.
Yeah, this is never talked about, really. I've never talked to somebody about this ever, I don't think. So this is great.
If you really think about, so again, back to the pregnancy, when women are pregnant or after they've given birth, when you understand the enormity, the magnitude of what has just happened, all of the changes that have happened over the 9 months, followed by either a vaginal or a cesarean birth, the fact that women are just basically sent home with a high five and a baby is appalling to me. And then they wait for a green light and say to go back to normal. That's not okay. If you had ACL surgery or shoulder surgery, you would have a dedicated recovery plan, physiotherapy, planned sort of gradual return to exercise of 6 to 8 months. And women are back at the gym at 6 weeks postpartum.
So that's just not good.
That's not good, it's too soon. And that's contributing to a rise in things like incontinence, prolapse, where the organs start to descend and shift out of their optimal alignment, and that can affect your continence, it can affect your ability to eliminate, your confidence and your sexual life. So they're really, really preventable, but also very treatable. It's never too late. But I want women to be aware of this information so they have an opportunity to prevent, but they also know about something called pelvic floor physiotherapy, which I feel is the most underused women's health resource that we have, and really should be a part of every, especially pregnant women's.
So how would you do it? And like, if you were just say training me, is training the right word?
Yeah.
How would you even know what I'm doing? You know what I mean? Because like it's all internal. So how do you know I'm doing it right?
So within my scope of practice, again, I don't do any internal work. So that's why I do definitely collaborate with pelvic floor physios, because they can address that internal piece, and they actually use gloved fingers. So they address things like scar tissue, positioning of the organs, balance, contraction. how I help women is by incorporating it into movement, and I can tell a lot without that internal palpation what you might be doing. So I can look for things in the abdomen like holding breath or bracing or instabilities in the pelvis. Those would be some of the things that I would look for. You can also palpate on certain muscles to see if you can feel that gentle tensioning and activation underneath your fingertips.
Right.
So do you want to learn how to do a Kegel?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I know how. I've tried. I learned it on Sex and the City.
Okay, well, they're a good resource. So first thing that's important is the position of your pelvis. So most people, especially with the amount of sitting that we do right now, more people sit here, tucked under.
I usually do that for sure.
Yeah, most people do. So the important thing when you want to get an appropriate activation and relaxation of the muscles, you want to tip your pubic joint forward so that you come onto the front part of those sit bones, and you should feel your vulva on the surface of your chair.
Okay.
It's harder to do in skinny jeans too,
Yeah,
but
a little bit.
okay. So this would be a neutral pelvis. Most people kind of view the pelvis like this. When we are in a neutral pelvis, we can use the bony scaffolding for some support and not rely just on the ligaments and the muscles. So now we're gonna, I just posted on my Instagram today actually one of my favorite cues, which is blueberry. So I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to imagine that you have a blueberry, and it could be at the entrance to your vagina and your anus, or just your vagina.
Okay.
When you take a breath in, I want you to feel and imagine and sort of see your vulva expanding and opening. And you should almost feel like you have more awareness of the surface of the chair, like your pants get a bit tighter in your pelvis. And then when you exhale, you're gonna use your vulva and your vagina to grab the blueberry, pick it up, and lift it upwards into your body on your exhalation. And then when you inhale, you put your blueberry back down. How are you doing?
I feel like I'm doing really well.
Okay, so really at the end of the day, somebody shouldn't be able to tell, like I'm doing a Kegel right now.
So
did anything change? No. We
Can you
shouldn't
tell I'm doing
see,
one?
no I can't.
Can you?
But some people, so if you're sitting, if people are doing this, or if they're doing this, trying to do Kegels, then that's not, they're using other muscles, or they think they're doing it, but they're not actually using those internal muscles. So a Kegel really is a balanced contraction, a lift, and then a letting go of the pelvic floor muscles.
So how often would you suggest somebody do that? A few times a day, just once a day, once every few weeks?
Yeah, it would depend on the person. So there's a lot more people with very tight pelvic floors, more hypertonic, so a lot of people that sit crunched up. So I would spend more time with them and get them to spend more time thinking about that blossoming and that opening, and maybe just do a contraction for every 2 blossoming breaths.
Okay.
But generally, the general consensus for improvement with Kegels is 3 sets of 10, 3 times a day.
Oh wow, okay.
Quite a bit, right? So people are lucky to even get in 1 set of 10, or even one squeeze a day. So
Which is crazy, because literally you can do it, I can do it the whole time I'm doing BareTalk TV.
right.
I'm going to for the rest of the day.
So today I'm at a conference, so Kegels and conferences. Yesterday I was at a track meet, so Kegels and competitive sports, Kegels and whatever. I do an event called Kegels and cocktails. You can do Kegels throughout your day. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to spend 30 minutes going to a gym just to do Kegels. You can incorporate them. It's just bringing that awareness that people should pay attention, and that it really is quite simple.
How do people get in touch with you?
VaginaCoach.com is the best place to find me.
VaginaCoach.com. You're not going to forget that. I know you won't. Thank you so much, Kim, for talking to us
Thank you for
today.
having me.
I'm Megan Edwards with BareTalk TV.